Aí, boa. Deixa eu só arrumar aqui, certinho. Copiar. Gente, aquela burocracia de sempre, eu entrar no vídeo, colocar a capa, tudo. Que, né, YouTube Studio é bugado. Qual é o nome do jogo mesmo? What? Finch. Acho que é isso. Ah, tá, errei o nome aqui, calma aí. Pronto. Aqui no negócio. Processando o vídeo. Agora é só compartilhar a live. E já era. Vamos lá então. Não sei o que aconteceu com a minha câmera. Estamos jogando pra cá, então tem que vir mais pra cá.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
Tá. O jogo é bonito.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Mãe aqui até os 11, mas não podia entrar na metade dos cômodos.
Inside the mailbox were bills from
Dentro de uma caixa de correio eu encontrei compras de 7 anos atrás. Mercados urgentes da vida.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Eu não tinha vontade disso. Eu não tinha voltado desde o funeral do meu irmão Lewis.
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked.
O testamento minha mãe deixou uma chave para mim, mas não me disse para o que.
Maybe she thought I'd know. She thought the
Talvez ela achou
mystery
que eu saberia, talvez ela pensou que o mistério seria suficiente para me trazer de volta.
No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few
Fazia muito
footprints.
tempo que ninguém vinha aqui, mas vi algumas pegadas disso aqui.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answer.
Mas agora eu tinha perguntas sobre minha família que somente a casa sabia as respostas.
The house was exactly like I remembered it. The way
A
I
casa
been
estava
dreaming about it.
exatamente do jeito que eu lembrava, do jeito que eu sonhava com ela.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put
Quando eu era
into
pequena, eu
words.
ficava desconfortável na casa de um jeito que não conseguia descrever.
Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew
Agora com
exactly
17, eu
those
sabia
words were.
exatamente como eu
I was afraid of the house.
tinha medo da casa.
I hoped the key might unlock the
Eu
front door.
esperava que a chave pudesse destrancar a porta na frente, mas não. Foi até aqui então. Porta do gato.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was
Eu fui pra
11.
portinha de cachorro, costumava ser bem mais fácil quando eu tinha 11.
For the first time in years,
Primeira vez em anos.
I felt like I was home.
E senti como se estivesse em casa.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left.
A mesa ainda estava da bagunça desde a noite que fomos embora.
My mom was the only one of us who could
Minha
imagine
mãe era a
Grandma
única
Edie
que
living in
nos
a nursing home.
imaginaria bisa de um...
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was
Nada na
just
casa
too
parecia
much of
normal, era
it,
apenas
like a
demais.
smile with too many teeth.
Como um sorriso com dentes demais.
Great Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara.
Bisavó destruiu uma caixa de
along with the
música
rest of the
para
house.
Bárbara junto com o resto da casa.
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't
Como
too
de tudo.
surprised when the key didn't fit. A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of
Muitas
that
coisas
last
foram
night.
deixadas para trás na confusão da última noite.
My mom wasn't much of an optimist,
Minha mãe
but
não era lá
she never
muito
stopped believing that my brother
otimista, mas
Milton was
nunca
alive.
deixou de acreditar que o meu irmão Milton estava vivo.
After Milton disappeared, Mom
Depois que o
sealed up
Milton
all the
desapareceu, minha
bedrooms.
mãe lacrou todos
Then
os
Edie
quartos.
retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Não entendi nada ali, mas ok.
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a
Minha
room
avó
with his
sempre
dead
passou 7
brother.
anos dividindo o quarto
Calvin.
com seu irmão morto. Calvin. Gregory.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes
Quando eu era
and
criança, eu
sealed
achava
rooms
que
you
todas
weren't
as
allowed inside
casas
of.
tinham olhos mágicos e como lacrados onde não se podia entrar.
The last time I was in
A
Edith's
última
senior's
vez que eu
room,
estive no
I was
quarto
10
de
and she was painting my portrait.
Edith Senhor tinha... sei lá o que, sei lá o que, sei lá o que. Não deu pra ler. Galera, tem coisa que eu não vou conseguir ler a tempo, tá? Aí foi mal. Tentei. Molly.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could
A Molly
imagine
sempre
being friends
pareceu uma
with.
garota com quem
If
eu
she hadn't
imaginaria
died in
fazer
1947.
amizade se ela não tivesse morrido em 1947. Eu tinha quantos anos? Tinha 10 anos. Ok, Molly. Tá aberta? Vamos ver aqui.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night
A mamãe
before.
deve ter trancado as escadas do terreno. Ah. Bárbara.
Barbara was a child star for 2 years.
Bárbara foi uma celebridade
Until
infantil
America
por anos
grew out of
até os pais se cansar dela.
Edie's father, Odin, built the original
O pai de
house.
Edie...
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's
Eu
room.
brincava muito no quarto.
I think my
tio
mom
avô
sometimes
Walter.
regretted not sealing
Acho
it
que
up.
minha mãe às vezes se arrependia de não ter trancado ele, lacrado ele.
Louis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him. Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping
No fim, minha mãe
secrets.
era ótima guardar segredos.
Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Agora era hora de saber o que minha mãe sempre teve medo.
Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a
Lendo
plan,
isso, talvez pareça que eu tinha um plano.
but I had no idea what was behind that
Mas eu não
door.
fazia ideia do que tinha atrás daquela porta.
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Assim como eu não fazia ideia para onde isso ia levar.
I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time
Tive a
here
impressão de que a gente tinha ficado
before my
muito
mom
tempo
sealed
aqui,
the doors.
antes da minha mãe lacrar as portas.
December
7,
13th,
querido diário, logo não estaria mais aqui, mas queria contar
Dear
para
Diary,
alguém
I'll be
o que vai
gone
acontecer.
soon,
Tudo
but I
começou
wanted
quando
to
minha mãe
tell
me mandou
somebody
para a
about what's
cama
gonna
sem
happen.
jantar.
It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked
Eu
around
acordei
for
com muita
something
fome,
to
então
eat.
procurei alguma coisa para comer.
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't
A
mind.
ração do Gervio estava seca, mas não me importei.
I kept eating and eating.
Eu continuei comendo. Ela comeu pasta. Que nojo.
I ate a lot of things
Eu comi
that night.
muitas coisas naquela noite.
Then I heard chirping outside my window.
Então eu vi bicho na janela.
I thought about eating
Eu
Christopher,
pensei em
but I
comer o
held back.
bicho, mas me detive.
It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly,
De repente,
I was a cat. I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
tentei ficar em silêncio, mas a passarinha estava agitada, sei lá o quê.
Mom and Dad didn't even look at
Minha
me.
mãe e meu pai nem olharam para mim.
The babies were all gone.
Os bebês se foram.
I jumped and I almost got her.
Eu pulei e quase peguei ela.
I could tell she was getting really tired.
Eu pude perceber que estava cansada.
Now I was up in the big tree.
Estava no
I
alto de uma
promised
árvore.
Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore.
Prometi para meu pai que
All
não
I
ia
cared
subir
about
mais.
was eating that mama
Mas
bird.
tudo que eu queria era comer aquela mãe passarinha.
I gobbled her up,
Eu engoli ela.
and suddenly I was an
De
owl.
repente eu era uma coruja.
First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the
Depois eu
grass.
vi... Deixem, murmurando.
Rabbits.
Coelhos.
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit.
Menino
Then I
chegou.
flew off to find something bigger.
Depois voei procurá-lo, né?
A mama rabbit.
Uma mamãe coelha.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
De repente eu era um tubarão.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever. I wanted fat, juicy seals. I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good. Grabbed on tight. When I was so hungry, I jumped out
Eu
of
estava
the
com
water.
fome e pulei para fora da água.
When I opened my eyes, everything had changed. Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere. I was big, but I moved real quiet. I wanted to stop, but also I didn't. as passenger, I was still hungry. And to cross the water,
Eu
I
vou
saw
me sentir cheio
something
de algo
new, something
novo,
I had to have.
algo que
So
eu
I swam
precisava.
towards it.
Então nadei em sua direção.
I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Me arrastei pela areia daquele chão.
I got closer and closer.
Cada vez mais perto.
All of my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to be, and we both know I will be delicious.
Mas que delícia, hein? Deliciosa.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have. This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room. Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Com uma nova casa. Finch. Odin.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways. When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't. One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
Por algumas semanas.
I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time. Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious. Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother. The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Era uma evidência bem grande.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book. Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down. From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin.
Que o vovô
And then he never talked
sempre
about
tinha
him.
gêmeo.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Acho que meu avô não gostava da história assim como minha mãe.
How I want to remember my brother.
O que eu lembro é que
By
ele se
Sam.
escondia, não tinha mais volta.
The thing I
Meu irmão
remember
disse que
is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again, and he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam, Calvin, dinner's ready. Coming.
estou indo.
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible.
Mas pra ele que dar a volta é impossível.
Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Talvez eu não tivesse dito. Talvez se eu não tivesse dito.
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you
Claro, não vou
again.
falar mais uma
maybe
vez.
if the wind hadn't picked up,
Se o vento não tivesse aumentado,
then maybe he'd still be here.
talvez
I
eu
doubt
ainda
it.
estaria aqui. Não duvido.
I think he'd already made up his mind.
Olha que bonito.
That's what I want to remember about my brother.
É isso que eu quero me lembrar sobre meu irmão.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing. After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the
Depois do
room.
funeral, Ed isolou com uma corda a parte do quarto que era do Calvin.
passages were a pretty tight fit.
As passagens eram bem
They'd
apertadas.
obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Eu vou abrir aqui. Um atalho a mais.
Whenever people ask me about my family,
Sempre que as pessoas
the first thing they always want to
perguntavam
know about is
sobre a minha família,
Barbara.
elas sempre primeiro sobre a Bárbara. A gente da casa tá ligado ali, né? Então...
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a
Quando eu era
child
criança, eu
star.
sempre pensei em Bárbara como uma artista mirim.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for
Mas
her
nunca pensei sobre
afterwards.
como é difícil de ter sido pra ela depois.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm
Das
surprised
histórias
Edie
que as
saved this
pessoas
one.
escreviam sobre a morte da Bárbara me surpreende que...
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch.
Gente,
As a child star,
quando
Barbara
era
was
artista,
famous
mirim,
for
agora
her
ficou
scream.
famosa.
Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been.
Fez um estilo totalmente
But
superado
in
do
a lucky
passado.
break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent. She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Será que tem conquista? Limpa mesmo. Sabia que tinha conquista alguma coisa. Era tudo também. Limpe tudo, né? Rouba tudo. Até caixa. Não perdoa nem caixa. É placa. Aí também. E aí, filho? Aí junto. tudo cair. Tem uma passagem aqui. Vou passar aqui agora.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
She threw him out.
Na cara.
She kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the Late Picture Show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Walter vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And funny he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully. Holly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges grow. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet. The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending. I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Salvando o jogo.
Mom said the basement was off limits.
Me desculpa,
Unless I
o oral era
wanted another
proibida, menos
tetanus
se eu
shot.
quisesse outra injeção antitetânica.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
Yeah, ele sim.
I thought maybe she was hiding presents.
It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
Enfim, ela estava escondendo mais que isso.
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone.
Lembro de perguntar para minha mãe onde o Walter tinha ido.
She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he
Ela
could.
disse que depois que a Bárbara morreu, ele foi para mais longe que pôde.
If there's a pattern in all these stories,
Se tinha um padrão aí. Se tinha um padrão de todas essas memórias.
I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Acho que nenhum de nós conseguiria ir para muito longe.
Goodbye, everyone. I
Adeus a
can't believe I've
todos.
been down here for 30 years.
Não acredito que estou aqui há 30 anos.
On that first day, after the shaking started,
Primeiro dia
I
depois
survived
das
the week.
temores começaram, eu achei que não ia sobreviver essa semana.
But after a few days, I settled into a routine.
Eu preciso seguir uma...
That's what kept me sane.
Foi isso que me manteve são.
Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow.
Sempre esperei morrer amanhã.
But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything.
Esperar o suficiente e você acostuma com tudo.
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly.
Quase a minha esposa.
And then one day, everything
Então
just
um dia tudo apenas
stopped.
termina.
Whatever that thing was, it was
Seja lá o
gone.
que isso seja.
Maybe it
se
got
foi.
tired of waiting.
Talvez tenha cansado de esperar.
Or maybe I just got tired of being
Ou talvez
afraid.
eu tenha cansado de ficar com medo.
It's been a week now, the longest
Já faz
in
uma
30
semana
years.
e o período já mais longo de 30 anos.
I'm done waiting.
Cansei de esperar.
I have to leave while I still can.
Preciso lembrar.
I know it's out there somewhere.
Seja que está lá fora, em algum lugar. Sei que já está
Whatever
lá.
killed Barbara
Aquilo que matou a Bárbara
and Molly.
e a Molly.
And Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake.
Talvez isso seja engano.
But I need to stop living the
Mas eu
same
preciso
day,
parar de viver.
even if it kills me.
Mas eu preciso parar de viver o mesmo dia. E que isso me mate.
Whatever's out there, I want you to know
Seja lá o que
I'm
esteja
ready
lá
for
pra
it.
fora, quero que você saiba que
I'm
estou
going to
pronto.
appreciate all of it,
Vou
especially
valorizar
the
tudo
food.
isso, especialmente a comida.
I don't mind if I only have a year left,
Não me importa se eu
or a
tiver
month. Or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
Falta 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me. Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter.
Talvez eu tivesse medo de eu acabar como o Walter.
But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding.
Compreendo.
I don't want to make the same mistakes she made.
Não quero cometer os mesmos erros que ela.
Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe
Agora se
two,
sobrou.
I thought it was time I heard the stories for
Achei
myself
que era hora de ouvir a história sozinha.
and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse,
Talvez a gente.
we made it real. I don't know if I should even be writing this.
Está escrevendo isso mesmo.
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family.
Eu achei que deveria saber sobre a sua família.
And the history you're a part of.
E sobre a história, como você faz parte. Ele tem um bagulho. Não sei se eu vou por aqui.
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth. When you look at the house, it had that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness.
Mas galera, tô vendo um negócio aqui do canal aqui.
Any of it seems possible.
Tem cabelo curto. Por aqui? Não. Por aqui. Tem uma bike ali. Aqui pra onde eu entrei na casa aquela hora, né? Na parte de trás. Acho que ficamos cercados pela morte por tanto tempo que acabamos no sei lá o que, sei lá o que, sei lá o que. Entendi nada. Que tipo de família termina por construir um cemitério antes de começar a casa? Eu vou pro cemitério, será que eu vou ver o... Oi, meu amor. Bom? Será que eu vou ver o... Gus? Gus, né? Hehe. Não, de boa.
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but...
Constrangedor, sei lá o que.
The pet cemetery made
De
me more
boa.
uncomfortable than the human
Os
one.
cemitérios e bichos me deixou mais desconfortável que os
gerbils were
humanos.
mine.
3 dos gerbis eram meus... Gerbis? Zoe, Coco, Tucker, Charlie, Drace, Luck, Darp Jr., Darp, Bub, Chirp, Furp, Lurp, Zerp, Bailey, Billy, Sartzi, Oliver, Bob, Chandel, Christopher. Tem tanto sapo aqui que não consigo ver.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
Você teve que construir essa casa, mas foi... Caraca, tem de tudo. Ó o gato. Molly Finch, Calvin Finch, Seven Finch, Eden Finch, Walter Finch, Barbara Finch. E aqui é o quê? Aqui é uma árvore pra sentar.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea.
Tenho certeza que há momentos que, foi sei lá o que, a minha mãe estava sempre tentando seguir em frente, mas para Ed o passado nunca se foi.
She could see it poking out of the water.
Ela podia ver tanto ser da água mar abaixo. A casa lá em cima, no último andar lá.
Edie said she dreamed about the old house every
Ed
night.
dizia que ela sonhava com uma casa antiga das noites. Todas as noites. Aqui tem uma casa.
Edie's
que fazer
side was
agora?
always easier for me to understand.
O lado da Ed sempre foi o mais fácil para eu entender.
But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from.
Mas conforme eu fui ficando mais velha, mais consegui ver onde minha mãe vinha. Boa. Mano, falta só pra me chegar a 200 seguidores, velho. Falta só um pra me chegar a 200.
Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to
O
save
pai dela
her
tinha
brothers.
sido muito
She was just trying
rígido,
to do
mas não
better.
o suficiente para salvar seus irmãos. Ele só estava ficando bem. Gregory Fish, Sun Fish, Guns Fish.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did.
Ela perdeu 2
I get why
irmãos.
she tried
Como...
so hard to protect us.
Não entendi nada. Lance Fish. Tem uma coroa. Caraca, maluco, tem uma coroa, mano. Sajai, cão. Sei lá o que é isso. Nunca encontramos o corpo da Molly, então a mãe insistiu em construir um monumento, não uma lápide. Caraca, não encontraram o corpo da menina na própria casa.
There's so many things I wish I could ask my
Tem
mom
tantas
now.
coisas que eu queria poder perguntar
Part of
para
me
minha mãe
thinks
agora.
this is what she
A
wanted
parte de
all
mim
along,
acha que é isso, ela queria
for me to come back
o tempo
someday,
todo. Eu vou voltar algum dia.
find everything out for myself.
E descobrir tudo sozinha. Barulho de escada de Minecraft, gente. Igualzinho. Aqui é a mesa lá que o gato
But
subiu.
looking back on it now,
Mas pensando agora,
if she told me there was going to be so
se ela
much
tivesse me
climbing,
dito, eu devia...
I never would have come when I
Sei lá
was
o quê.
22,
Eu nunca
30.
teria vindo aqui quando eu estava grávida. Que? Eu nunca teria vindo aqui com... Grávida? Tá grávida, filho? Como assim? Tá à noite, mais escuro. Sobe, minha querida, sobe. Tem uma escada ali.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think
Não
he
cheguei
and
a
my mom
conhecer
had a
o
lot in
vovô
common.
Sam, mas acho que ele e a minha mãe tinham muito em comum. Gente, esse tipo de letra pra mim ler, velho. Eu sou horrível, falei letra assim. Sem zoeira. Pra mim ler letra assim, cara, eu sou... Mano, um desprezo
They were
total.
both pretty intense.
Os dois eram muito intensos. Aqui, ó. Sam.
Dawn, I promise.
Não
You'll never
prometo que
forget this
você nunca
weekend.
vai esquecer desse final de semana.
These
Sim,
memories
sim.
are gonna last a
As
lifetime.
lembranças vão durar por toda a vida.
What?
Que?
Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
Vou ter que atirar
It's a hunting
alguma
trip,
coisa.
Dawn.
Vamos
Shooting is
viajar para
strongly
começar
encouraged.
recompensas.
It's too early, Dad.
Está muito cedo, pai. Propano. O cara tá levando propano, velho. Sunfish.
Hey.
Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? Please just take the damn picture.
Hey, language.
Did you want to get a picture of me or what? I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. The camera's older than you are.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though. Aw.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Hey!
That's a keeper. Hold still while I take a picture of you.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died?
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Dawn, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph? You don't need to waste any more film on me, kiddo. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire.
Esse dia você na câmera. Eu dou zoom e
Found an old
volto, mas
logging
acabou.
trail with deer everywhere.
Por que eu tenho que tirar foto?
I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time. Give me a minute to check the map.
Não sei o que tem que fazer.
Let's see. Maybe.
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn.
Onde está o passarinho? Aê, finalmente.
Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive... Great shot, Dawn!
What?
I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay? Sorry, Dawn. Just gotta reset the timer.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Pai dela morreu.
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me. Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Onde tem que ir agora? Tem que sair de novo? É isso? Acho que não, ao invés que sair, ia falar alguma coisa, né? Ah, tá aqui.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Gregory.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Que? 10 comentários? Como é? Não apareceu nada aqui não. Como assim 10 comentários? Calma aí. What the hell, man? Calma aí, gente. 10 comentários? Ah, tá. Ficou.
Gregory, it's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw. What his world was like. Reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was he saw. Sure made him happy. I know how silly it sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel her slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
saw. There's so much I don't understand about Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. He'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Bebê do sapo, fi. Brinca. Pernilongo. Vai pra lá.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. Father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met one, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that
I now pronounce you husband and wife. Make him cry.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. Rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea and foam.
Moleque matou todo mundo.
But I didn't. Until we found you.
Não, o bebê acabou de morrer. A criança matou todo mundo. A menina foi morta por monstro.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus. My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the
bebezinho
time,
morreu,
it was as far
velho.
away as she could get.
Afogado dentro da banheira, mano. Bebezinho morreu, família.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
Bebezinho que morreu.
Louis was born a year later.
Louis nasceu um ano depois.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else
Quando o
to
pai
go.
morreu, não acho que minha mãe conhecia outro lugar para ir.
I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
Tenho certeza que a gente tinha orgulho de cuidar.
And to see kids in the house again.
E de ver crianças na casa de novo.
The house had to get a little bigger, but
A casa teve que ficar um pouco maior, mas Ed já estava se acostumando com isso. Mano, o bebezinho morreu, velho. Que triste.
And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
Tinha escola aqui para as
But it didn't
crianças.
last.
Mas não durou. Ah, mano, não quero nem saber já, mano. Tô ficando triste já com esse jogo. Todo mundo morre. Até o bebê morreu.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings. Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Milton Finch em O Pincel Mágico. Isso, anota do Milton. Milton. Isso.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Eu tinha 4 anos quando o Milton desapareceu. Tô subindo, tô quase zerando o jogo.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
Você fez fazer uma coisa aqui, galera.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out. Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Pra cá, né? Fumante.
Louis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
O maluco era maconheiro.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Louis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Louis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself.
Não sei se encontraria.
But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Louis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Louis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Louis Topia. built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play.
Porque para que eles tocassem.
He talked about starting a band.
Ele falou sobre começar uma banda.
And he was always humming something.
Ele estava sempre cantando.
Every day his imagination grew stronger.
Sua imaginação ficava cada dia mais forte.
He no longer spoke at the cannery.
Ele não conversava mais.
But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on. In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
Tô quase zerando o jogo já. Eu acho.
My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Amo você, meu amor.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery
Acho que era doloroso para eles lembrar do que eles trabalhando no público.
He began to despise the man with a
Ele
royal
começou a odiar
contempt.
esse homem com desprezo.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over
Mesmo
all the
depois que ele
lands of wonder.
tivesse me dito que seria.
The palace would be packed with his companions.
E aí, Pato, boa? Tô quase zerando o jogo, mano, eu acho.
Including the wise Calico, who'd insisted on inviting him. His queen waited, holding his crown.
Tem uma licotina ali.
There was only one thing left to do.
Ele vai perder a mão.
Bend down his head. And the rest, I think, came. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man.
Beleza,
who will be
o
missed
resto
by
acho que
all of
você
us who knew
sabe.
him.
Sr. Fischer, o filho, era um homem bondoso. Beleza, é isso aí. Só falta. Ô, o maluco era maconheiro, velho.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Tá aí agora? Posso dar side? Sou eu? Tá salvando. Saída. Será que agora é eu?
On the way back from Lewis's funeral,
Na volta do funeral do Larry, minha mãe me disse para começar a
she waited until the
fazer
day before we left to tell
fazer
you.
as malas. Ela se parou de...
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or
Não tenho
harder.
certeza se ela quer deixar uns peças aqui. Quer meu
I
quarto?
wish we'd stayed.
Queria que tivéssemos ficado.
But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Minha mãe acabou deixando tudo para trás. Até o pé aqui do pé.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time.
O que aconteceu naquela noite estava para acontecer há muito tempo.
Maybe it should have come sooner.
Talvez tivesse acontecido antes. É pernilongo.
But it had to end one way or
Mas
another.
precisava terminar de uma forma ou de outra.
All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Do que estou pensando. Tem uma pena ali.
whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
The thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go!
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot.
We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
É um menino! Achei que era menina! Histórias reais. Que da hora, velho. Galera, então esse aqui foi o jogo. Quem gostou, deixa o like, compartilha, né? Esse jogo é muito bom, gostei demais dele. Logo menos eu trago outro pra vocês, beleza? Então, falou galera, tamo junto.